Let's get right into it. Number 1. The Spotlight Delusion. You walk into a room and instantly feel like 47 people are laser-focused on your outfit, your hair, or that one zit on your forehead that decided to pop in like an uninvited party guest. Bad news. Almost no one cares. Good news, your brain is just being dramatic. This charming little glitch is called the spotlight effect, a psychological trick where your brain convinces you that everyone is paying attention to you way more than they actually are. In reality, people are way too wrapped up in their own mental dramas to obsess over yours. It's like your brain is the director of a low-budget reality show starring you, and it thinks everyone else is watching the live feed. Spoiler, they aren't. They're too busy worrying about whether they seem awkward, whether they overuse the word like, or whether their armpits are betraying them. This brain lie is a side effect of having self-awareness. Humans are wired to constantly think about ourselves, and we just assume everyone else is doing the same. But here's the kicker. They're not. If you trip on the sidewalk, chances are people forget it by the time you hit the ground. So relax. The universe isn't watching your every move. Your brain just wants to feel like the main character, even when you're just buying toilet paper. Number 2. Phantom vibrations. Ever feel your phone vibrate, but when you check, it's just sadness? Yeah, welcome to phantom vibration syndrome, where your nervous system plays pranks on you like a bored teenager. This isn't some rare neurological disease. It's actually incredibly common. Up to 90% of people report feeling fake phone buzzes. Your brain is now so used to being interrupted that it started hallucinating notifications. Literally. You've trained your nervous system to expect messages the way Pavlov trained dogs to drool. Except instead of food, it's a mildly passive-aggressive K. What's happening is your brain is mistaking random muscle spasms or tiny clothing shifts for a notification because it's developed a trigger-happy "is it a text?" reflex, kind of like a smoke detector that goes off when you toast bread slightly too hard. Basically, your body is so addicted to dopamine hits from your phone that it's now experiencing withdrawal hallucinations. That's right, you're having tech FOMO before anything even happens. Congratulations. Your nervous system is throwing a tantrum in your honor. Number 3. Time warp logic. Here's a fun one. Your brain has absolutely no idea how time works. 1 minute you're 8 years old and summer lasts for 6 decades. And then you blink and it's been 7 years since you graduated, and you're somehow paying taxes and Googling what is fiber. The reason time feels faster as you age isn't just depression and capitalism, though they certainly don't help. It's because your brain compresses familiar experiences. When you're a kid, everything is new and weird and exciting. Newness makes your brain pay attention and store more detailed memories, which makes time feel full and slow. But as an adult, you do the same routines every day: wake up, doom scroll, drink caffeine, go to work, die a little inside, repeat. Your brain starts filing these days under nothing new to report and compresses them into mental zip files. So while it feels like time is flying, it's actually just your brain hitting the skip intro button on your life. The more routine your life is, the less your brain bothers to log it. So if you want time to slow down, do something weird. Travel. Start a hobby. Eat soup with a fork. Confuse your neurons into paying attention again. Number 4. False memories, real confidence. Brace yourself. Some of your memories are complete lies, not just fuzzy around the edges like full-blown historical fiction, but your brain is very confident about them. False memories are a delightful little side effect of how your brain saves information. Unlike a computer, your brain doesn't store memories like files. It rewrites them every time you recall them, kind of like a Word doc that automatically saves every time you change a sentence, except your edits are done by a drunk raccoon. This means the more you remember something, the more likely you are to alter it. Your brain fills in gaps, swaps in details that feel right, and polishes the story to make you look slightly cooler and slightly less awkward. Which is why that time you tripped in 10th grade turned into, "I totally meant to do a parkour roll." Even worse, if someone tells you something happened, especially if they're confident, your brain might just adopt their version like, "Yeah, that sounds legit. Let's go with that." Which is how people end up confessing to crimes they didn't commit or swearing they saw Sinbad in a genie movie that never existed. Basically, your brain is a terrible historian but a fantastic fiction writer. Accuracy? Overrated. Confidence? 10 out of 10. Number 5, you think you're in control. You like to think you're the boss of your decisions, right? That you're a free-thinking, logical, independent adult making conscious choices with full awareness? Okay, well, your brain thinks that's adorable. Reality check. Most of your decisions are made before you're even aware of them. In fact, neuroscientists have discovered that your brain starts prepping for an action milliseconds, and sometimes seconds, before you consciously decide to do it. It's like your brain is the CEO and your consciousness is the intern who just writes down whatever already happened. This phenomenon was first observed in studies using EEGs, where people were told to press a button whenever they felt like it. The brain's motor cortex lit up before the subjects reported choosing to press the button. Translation: your brain decided before you did. Free will? Cute theory. Very inspiring. Kind of a placebo. And it doesn't stop there. Everything from what snacks you crave to which strangers you trust can be influenced by things like lighting, smells, how tired you are, or whether the word fresh appeared in a commercial 30 minutes ago. Your brain is constantly being manipulated, and it's fine with that, as long as you feel like you're calling the shots. So the next time you choose between salad and fries, just know, it might not be you making that call. It might be your blood sugar, your mood, or that French fry commercial you saw last week that lodged itself in your brain like a greasy little sleeper agent. Number 6, paranoia versus pattern recognition. Ever get a weird feeling that someone's watching you? Or that the universe is sending you signs? Like, why else would you see the number 222 everywhere? Well, plot twist. It's not the universe. It's your brain's overzealous pattern recognition system. And it's a little too good at its job. Humans evolved to see patterns. It's what helped us survive. If you saw some bushes rustling weirdly and assumed it was a predator, even if it was just the wind, you lived longer than the guy who shrugged and said, probably nothing. Fast forward to today, and that same survival skill is giving you conspiracy brain. This is called apophenia, the tendency to see meaningful patterns in random stuff. It's why people see faces in clouds, or believe Mercury retrograde caused their coffee machine to break. Your brain wants there to be a reason for things. Randomness makes it uncomfortable, like an awkward silence in a horror movie. So it fills in the gaps even when there's nothing there. That moment you think someone dislikes you because they didn't say hi, probably just a social hiccup. But your brain is already connecting imaginary dots and building a tiny courtroom drama with zero evidence. Basically, your brain is like a detective with no leads and a deadline. It will make a story out of nothing, and it will sound convincing. Number 7. You filter reality badly. Here's a wild fact. Your brain throws out most of the information coming at you. Like the vast majority of it. You're basically living in a heavily edited version of reality, custom curated by your own nervous system. The real world throws millions of bits of sensory data at you every second: sights, sounds, smells, textures, all of it. But your brain can only handle around 120 bits per second. That's like trying to watch 500 Netflix shows at once using a dial-up modem. So your brain cheats. It uses something called the reticular activating system to filter out what it thinks doesn't matter. Ever notice how you suddenly hear your name across a crowded room? That's because your brain prioritizes it. Everything else? Yeeted into the void. You literally don't see or hear things that don't seem relevant, even if they're right in front of you. That's how people can walk straight into a pole while texting. It's not because they're stupid. Well, not entirely. It's because their brain filtered out the pole as non-essential. Turns out your brain's idea of relevant is often hilariously wrong. So remember, your perception of reality isn't the raw feed. It's the highlight reel your brain thinks you need. Like an Instagram version of life, but with more blind spots and fewer influencers. Number 8. You rewrite the past to win arguments. Ever walk away from an argument and suddenly remember the perfect comeback you didn't say? Or convince yourself that you definitely had the moral high ground even if you maybe kinda didn't? Congratulations. Your brain is an unreliable narrator with a flair for self-preservation. Memory isn't a file cabinet. It's more like a messy Google Doc that your brain keeps editing, sometimes just to make you look better. This is called memory bias, and it's your brain's way of gaslighting you for your own good. Because heaven forbid you remember that time you were actually wrong. AW. Studies show that people unconsciously tweak memories to align with their current beliefs, feelings, or ego needs. If you think you're a kind, logical person, your brain will conveniently adjust past events to match that storyline. Suddenly, that time you yelled in traffic wasn't rage, it was justice. You weren't petty, you were standing up for yourself. Bold, empowering, mildly fictional, even weirder. Your brain does this automatically. It's not that you're lying, you're just editing your mental resume to look more heroic. Like, I always knew they were shady, even though you were defending them last week like a ride or die bestie. So the next time you're sure you never said that, maybe pause. There's a non-zero chance your brain tossed that inconvenient truth out the window like yesterday's lunch receipts. Number 9. Pain isn't real until your brain says so. Pain feels like a physical thing, right? Like you stub your toe, your nerves freak out, and boom, agony. But here's the twist. Pain isn't in your foot. It's in your brain. That's right, your toe doesn't actually feel anything. It just sends distress signals. Your brain is the drama queen that decides whether or not to interpret those signals as death. Which means, yes, your brain can literally choose to ignore pain. And sometimes it does. Especially in emergencies, when survival mode kicks in and your body's like, not now, Brenda, we're escaping a bear. This also explains phantom limb pain, where people feel excruciating pain in a body part that doesn't even exist anymore. No nerves, no tissue, just a brain still convinced it's getting hurt. It's also why placebo painkillers sometimes work better than real ones. If your brain believes it's being medicated, it releases its own natural painkillers, endorphins, and opioids like it's got a Walgreens in there. Meanwhile, your actual foot is like, hello? Still broken here. So technically, pain is just a suggestion that your brain can accept, ignore, or exaggerate like a teenage poet with a paper cut. Number 10. Emotions hijack logic, like, constantly. You think you're being rational, calm, level-headed, but under the hood, your emotional brain is joyriding your prefrontal cortex like a toddler behind the wheel of a bulldozer. Here's how it works. Your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for emotions like fear, anger, and anxiety, responds faster than your logical brain, like milliseconds faster. It's the one that screams threat before you even know what's happening. So when something triggers you, a weird tone in someone's voice, a snarky email, your ex's playlist showing up on shuffle, your amygdala slams the panic button before logic even wakes up. Your brain is already staging an emotional opera before reason gets out of bed. This is why arguments escalate, why you say things you regret, why you cry at dog food commercials even though you don't own a dog. Your brain's logic system is literally bypassed during emotional spikes. It's called an amygdala hijack, and it turns your decision-making into a soap opera sponsored by cortisol. By the time your rational brain finally shows up like, hey, maybe we shouldn't burn that bridge, your emotional brain is already pouring gasoline on it in slow motion. So yeah, your brain likes to pretend it's a calm, collected philosopher. But emotionally, it's a raccoon in a kitchen full of fireworks. Number 11, your brain hates being bored, so it hallucinates. You ever sit in total silence and start hearing faint music that's not there? Or feel like your phone is vibrating again, even though it's off? Yeah. That's your brain saying, if no one's going to entertain me, I'll do it myself. Your brain despises boredom. It treats boredom like a life-threatening emergency. So when you deprive it of stimulation, it starts improvising, seeing patterns that don't exist, hearing voices or songs or footsteps that aren't real. That's right, hallucinations aren't just for the unhinged. They're also for the understimulated. One famous example, Charles Bonnet syndrome. When visually impaired people start seeing vivid hallucinations like faces, patterns, or entire landscapes. Why? Because their visual input is limited and the brain gets bored. So it throws its own little film festival, no ticket required. Even fully healthy people can experience minor hallucinations when bored or isolated. Sensory deprivation tanks? Those make you trip absolute face. Not because they're spooky, but because your brain gets locked in a silent room and goes, welp, Guess I'll start projecting weird swirling lights and whispering voices to pass the time. So yeah, when you're scrolling mindlessly through TikTok at 3 a.m. just to avoid boredom, it's not just habit. It's your brain trying to avoid a DIY hallucination montage. Kind of beautiful, kind of terrifying. Number 12, your brain forgets on purpose. You think forgetting your keys or why you walked into a room is a bug in the brain. Nah, it's a feature. Your brain intentionally forgets stuff to keep you sane. It's called motivated forgetting, and it's part of a larger system your mind uses to prevent you from hoarding mental junk. Like a mental Marie Kondo, does this memory spark joy? No? Delete. This isn't just about trauma, though your brain definitely buries some of that too. It's also about throwing out irrelevant or outdated info, like the name of your 5th grade science teacher, or the fact that your friend's cousin's birthday is in March. Your brain has decided that stuff doesn't make the cut, and out it goes. Even better, your brain sometimes modifies memories so you can cope. Like, did you really get dumped via text? Or was it mutual? Did you totally choke during your presentation? Or was it just a little shaky? Your memory's like, let's soften that edge, blur that part, and pretend this whole section never happened. You're welcome. We love to think forgetting is a flaw, but honestly, your brain's just doing crowd control. If you remembered everything, you'd be overwhelmed. You wouldn't function. You'd just stand in the cereal aisle, unable to choose, because you remember every cereal you've ever eaten. Ever. So yeah, forgetting is your brain's version of self-care. It's less oops and more you didn't need that nonsense anyway. Number 13. You hate uncertainty so much, you'll believe anything. Not knowing something, your brain hates that. It's like a toddler who keeps asking why. And if it doesn't get an answer, it'll make one up. This is why humans are so susceptible to conspiracy theories, urban legends, and complete nonsense dressed up as answers. We crave closure, explanations. Even if they're wrong, we prefer them to nothing. Your brain would rather be wrong with confidence than float in the limbo of who knows. Psychologists call this closure bias. The desire to make decisions, resolve uncertainty, and feel like we know what's going on, even if it's fake. This is why people think vaccines cause 5G mind control, or that Mercury being in retrograde is why their boyfriend ghosted them. Is it true? Nope. But does it feel satisfying? Oh, absolutely. Uncertainty is like an itch your brain has to scratch, even if it ends up with a rash made of garbage logic. And guess what? This is also why we fill in the blanks during awkward silences, overthink texts, and assume the worst. Because, I don't know is more terrifying than a terrible explanation. Our brains are emotionally allergic to ambiguity. So next time your brain serves you a steaming plate of, they're probably ignoring me because they secretly hate me, maybe pause. It's not insight. It's just your neurons trying to stop the itch with conspiracy-flavored logic. Number 14. The confidence illusion. Here's a delightful paradox. The less you know, the more confident you probably feel. And the more you do know, the more you second-guess everything. Welcome to the Dunning-Kruger effect, a brain glitch where people with low ability dramatically overestimate their skill, while people with high ability assume they're just average at best. In other words, your dumbest friend might feel the most confident giving advice, and your smartest friend is quietly panicking they're not qualified to microwave soup. This happens because you need a certain amount of knowledge just to realize how much you don't know. Until you hit that point, you're blissfully unaware. It's not stupidity. It's a lack of awareness of your own incompetence, which is somehow worse. Meanwhile, competent people have enough knowledge to see the complexity, the exceptions, the gray areas, so they hesitate. They question themselves. They say, it depends. Your brain doesn't reward accuracy. It rewards confidence. Which is why slick-talking grifters rise to power while thoughtful experts say things like, well, the data is still evolving. So yeah, your brain is more impressed by loud certainty than quiet wisdom. The real red flag isn't, I don't know. It's anyone who says they're 100% sure about literally anything. Number 15. You lie to yourself. And finally, the mother of all brain lies. You are constantly lying to yourself. And you believe it. Every single time. Your brain does this to protect your self-esteem, reduce stress, and keep you functional. These are called cognitive distortions. Things like, I'm fine, it's not a big deal, or I totally have time to finish this by tomorrow. Lies. Beautiful, soothing lies. We tell ourselves we're in control, that will change after this week, that we didn't really like them anyway, and your brain nods and pats your shoulder because it knows. The truth would probably break you a little. And that's the kicker. Your brain isn't malicious. It's not trying to deceive you for fun. It's just trying to keep you afloat in a world that's messy, chaotic, and occasionally soul-crushing. So if that means bending reality a little, so be it. So yeah, your brain lies to you all the time, but sometimes it's the only thing keeping you sane. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.